Do you want to be rich or do you want to feel right? It saves you so much more money. You've paid them all this money. They can only charge you interest on money you did not pay off on the statement. But whoever has the highest interest rate is who you want to pay off first, because that way you're saving more money. Because when you use a snowball method, what you're really doing is, welcome back YouTube, it's Amber Manaya, all things credit, all things finance. Let's get right into it. Today I wanted to chat about snowball method versus avalanche method. When you find yourself in debt and you have to make a strategic plan and you are budgeting to get yourself out of that debt, these are things you want to consider. If you have not downloaded or watched my last video on my budgeting sheets, my free budgeting sheets that you can go download, print out, and use for a whole year, get your strategy together, go ahead and do so. But these are the two strategy choices that we are going to go about that you can choose from. Disclaimer, I am 100% for the avalanche method. Why? I'm going to explain that in just a second. I do understand fully why people use the snowball method, but it comes down to this. Do you want to be rich or do you want to feel right? Not even do you want to be rich or be right. Do you want to be rich or do you want to feel right? Because when you use a snowball method, what you're really doing is coddling yourself into not having a heart attack, I guess, before you pay everything off. When, if you were to use the avalanche method, you could get things paid off so much quicker. So without further ado, let's dive right in. Let's go into the snowball method first. So this is a very popular method because, again, most people can only see what's happening right now. They don't think about the foreseeable future. What you want to make sure you do first is either write down all of the names of your credit cards or go grab my budgeting sheets and you can do it right on there. You're going to write down all the names of the credit cards, the interest rates that these cards have you locked in with, and the amount that you owe. You're going to choose, for the snowball method, you're going to choose the card that has the lowest balance. And you're going to pay that one with all of your excess money. You're still going to pay all of your card's minimum payments, but you're going to pay the excess to the one with the smallest balance. You don't want to miss any minimum payments because that's when you're going to incur more fees, late fees, and interest on top of those fees, which kind of depletes the strategy. So the snowball method helps you reduce the number of accounts faster. I didn't say close any accounts. Don't close any accounts when you do this, by the way. You're going to be able to pay off more cards faster, but the card with the highest interest is probably going to be one of the last cards you end up paying off because that card has the highest balance because the interest racks up so fast. So with the snowball method, what you're doing is you're paying off cards in no money saving fashion. You're just all over the place with it. Whatever card you owe the most on, because let's understand this. Nobody spends their money by how much interest that card has tacked onto it at first. Once you understand all the interest rates, then you'll start to move a little more modestly about it. But initially, if you have to use these strategies, you probably didn't look at the interest rates when you were spending money. So the snowball method, once you pay off the smallest balance with who knows what the interest rate is, then you move up to the next card. And you're still paying the minimums on all these cards, but that next card is where you're going to be putting all your money into. Now, on the flip side, let's talk about my favorite, the avalanche method. So in the avalanche method, you have written down all of your credit cards, you've written down the interest rates, you've written down how much you owe on these. This time, we're not going with the column of how much do you owe, which one has the highest usage. Now we're going with which one has the highest interest rate. It doesn't matter if there's $20 on this card that has the highest interest rate. That one is going to be at the top of all of your cards. That's the one that you're going to pay off first. You're still paying the minimums to all these other cards, of course, but whoever has the highest interest rate is who you want to pay off first, because that way you're saving more money. Whichever card has your highest interest rate, you honestly want to pay that card off and use it, because again, we're not using cash. So you want to be using this card for all of your everyday unfrivolous normal expenses. That way at the end of the month, they have less money to charge you interest on because you've paid them all this money. They can only charge you interest on money you did not pay off on the statement. So say your statement was you owed $2,000, right? And you know you're going to use $2,500 this month. Go and pay off that card with the highest interest. Go pay off that $2,000. Go use $2,500. Guess what? Now they have nothing to charge you interest on. Don't forget that interest is 1 month deferred. So the first month that you do this, you're still going to get interest that next month, but the next month you should not get any interest. And of course, you want your expenses to get less and less over time during these methods, but at least you didn't pay interest on your highest card. And then hopefully next month you only spend $1,800 and you continue to do this. And hopefully the next month is only, less and less and less. That way now you can move on to the next card that has the second highest interest rate. At this point, you shouldn't even be using the cards with the lowest interest rates because you're using less and less money every month, especially since you're saving money on interest now. So now you should only be using the card with the highest interest rate and paying everything else under it off. Once everything else under it is paid off and all you're left with is that card with the highest interest rate that you've been paying and using every month, now you can actually pay this card off. Now you can just stick to only that one card once everything else is paid off, or you can go switch to a different card, whatever has the lowest interest rate with the best perks. Once everything is paid off, now you can use whatever card that is for all of your expenses and never touch that high interest rate card again unless it has really good perks and you know you're going to be paying it off every month. I will tell you, the snowball method feels great for people who are not thinking ahead. When you pay off one card that was the smallest balance, of course it feels great. But when you pay off a card that had a significant balance and the interest rate was high, and you see that your interest this month and your interest year to date is getting smaller and smaller for the highest interest rate card, when you think about it, it feels so much better. Please realize the avalanche method is so much more cost effective. People really don't notice how much interest is being paid because they break it down into little bits. But if you use my budget planning worksheets and you went and wrote down all of your interest paid year to date, you know that the avalanche method is the only way that you can get out of this the quickest. So even if progress feels slower with the avalanche method because you're not getting as many cards paid off so fast, you have to understand the overall picture. How much did you pay in interest last month for all these cards? Add that up and then compare it to this month with the avalanche method. You're going to see how significantly it saves you so much more money. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please leave them below in this video. I can definitely go in depth more if there was not enough explanation here, but don't get caught up with the snowball method that is popular. Like, comment, subscribe. Have a great day.